Yeah. Okay, so I think we just start. I think people will join in the next 1 or 2 minutes. But yeah, anyway, I will briefly introduce today's session. Welcome to all of you for your interest in participating in this session today. This training today is organized as one of our activities within the EEN2EIC project, which you are all part of as a local node or a consortium innovation leader. And this training is specifically tailored for you that are actually supporting innovative companies in your regions for the application for the EIC Accelerator, with a special focus on the widening countries and women-led companies. Let me briefly introduce to you our today's agenda. So we will start with a short intervention by our coordinator, Marco Lentini, the coordinator of EEN2EIC project. After my short intervention, then we will jump right into the training, which will be held by my colleague Stefanos Bavati. He will guide you through the framework of the EIC, but also EIC Accelerator, and especially the short proposal. We will have a specific look today. This training will last around 30 minutes, and then we will have an intervention of 2 of our colleagues from Bavaria, Natalia Garcia-Mosso and her colleague Nivedita Mahita Königsdörfer. Yeah, thank you very much for joining and for taking this opportunity. Yeah, they will share with you some best practices, some advices, and also a success story of a company they have successfully supported within EEN work, but also an EEN2EIC project. We will use the last 20 minutes of the session today to give you the chance to ask questions, and therefore we use a Slido, which you can join here. So you can either scan the QR code with your mobile phone, or you can directly join us at slido.com and enter this link. We will also share this link in the chat. Yeah, so I would like to remind you that your microphones are muted, so please ask the questions via Slido. And yeah, just to remind you that we are going to record this session. I will just give the floor to Marco with a short welcome from his side, and yeah, the stage is yours, Marco.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Frederick. Thanks to Stefano and Alexandra from Standbys for organizing this training session. Thanks to Natalia from BIFOR, member of the EEN2EIC Advisory Board, for participating by presenting her experience to us. And thanks to her colleague Nivedita that will share with us the EEN best practice. During the first year of life of the EEN2EIC project, we have created a strong link between the European Innovation Council and the Enterprise Europe Network. We are happy for your participation. More than 100 registered EEN advisors today. This proves your interest in the EIC Accelerator program. We will offer continuous training for EEN members. A training for women-led companies organized by EEN2EIC and the thematic group Women Entrepreneurship is scheduled for October 27th. On November 15, within the annual conference, we will hold a panel dedicated to EEN2EIC services and business acceleration services. Will be present also the director of the agency, Jean-David Malot, for the closing. November 27th in Vienna, we will meet the national contact points of the EIC Accelerator for a session open to the participation of EEN advisors and NCPs, who will exchange good practice by putting together new ideas for the future actions. You all can participate. We will publish the training in Connect soon. To date, we have 64 consortium innovation leaders who are organizing assistance sections in their consortia. There are around 115 EEN organizations that are working as local nodes. We can estimate that they are providing now assistance to around 650 companies interested in applying. I want to remind you that the deadline for the EIC Accelerator cutoff for full proposal has been changed from 19 October to 8 November following terroristic attacks across Israel. The EEN2EIC Partners, APRE, Standbys, Praxi, Lithuanian Innovation Center remain at your disposal should you need further assistance. So always you can call us, write us for all these type of topics. Before leaving the floor to Stefanos Barbati for the presentation, I want to remind you that by the 24th of November, you can report the assistance you have provided starting from the 1st of September 2022 and up to today. In December, we will carry out an analysis of the data obtained on the basis which we will be able to better direct future actions. So this is very important. It's very important that all assistance cases are reported to get a more precise idea of the potential of the entire EEN network in this matter. Thank you for your attention and wish you good listening. I give the floor to Stefano. Thank you, Frederick.
Thank you very much, Marco. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we can then just start with the session. Marco, you've mentioned Stefano. I will leave the floor to you.
Yeah,
I keep sharing the screen, and we start with the first section.
Great. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you. Very briefly, before starting this presentation, and a quick introduction about me. My name is Stefanos Barbati, and I'm Senior Project Manager at Standbys, and this role, I'm of course in charge of the EEN2EIC project for Standbys, let's say, but at the same time, I also have experience supporting directly companies, particularly as an EEN startups, in their access to funding and innovation management, which is of course include also the actual design and development of proposals such as the EIC Accelerator, of course, together with the client, and also to give you a bit of framework about the training on top of what Mark already said a couple of minutes ago. This is part of a series of training that we offer as EEN2EIC, and the rationale here, the rationale behind this training is actually to provide all the EEN advice or the EEN network actually with practical and actionable information, on how to identify, for instance, suitable companies for EIC Accelerator in your portfolio, but also, of course, on how to support them into submitting a good and hopefully successful proposal. So we tackle this now with this presentation from, let's say, a bit more theoretical or general perspective, and we will then see, of course, how this turn into practice, or how this may turn into practice with the presentation from our colleague from Bayford later on. Of course, in a short session like this, we cannot cover every single aspect or every single technicality, let's say, of the application process. But as Marco said, you are very welcome anytime to contact us, to leverage on the existing resources out there, so that the national contact point, access to SC, for instance, just to name a few. The expectation for today is rather to transfer a few actionable knowledge that you can immediately use in your daily workflow, especially for supporting the submission of short proposal, which is the entry step, as we will see in the EIC Accelerator. With this said, next slide, we see what we have prepared for you today. We will cover, as I mentioned, first a bit of the background of the EIC, its funding framework and structure, what it actually supports, who can apply, and so on. And then we will move on to the actual submission process. So how the actual submission works, what kind of content do you need to develop with your client, and also what kind of information do you need to provide for a successful application. Next slide. So to start, what is the European Innovation Council? I quote now from the work program. Basically, the EIC was established to identify, develop, and scale up breakthrough technologies and companies which are critical for the green and digital transformation and help ensure future open and strategic autonomy in critical technologies. So this is the introduction to the work program, to the EIC work program. And as we already see, we have three key concept that we need to take into account while screening, for instance, our portfolio of companies. So breakthrough technologies or deep tech technologies, twin transition, so digital and green transition, and open strategic autonomy. Yeah, so these three key concepts will already help in a way to filter out the most promising companies in your network, or to assess if a particular proposal or idea is suitable for EIC, or also to, let's say, direct and route this idea or project development in the best direction. The whole program also, as a background, falls under the third pillar of Horizon Europe, and it has a series of strategic goals, which basically aims at rendering the EIC the investor of choice for
Vizinho, estás cá hoje.
deep tech. Maybe we can. Yeah, thank you. For EU deep tech companies, and also to stimulate additional investment from private sector, crowding additional investment into the EU deep tech. So what he wants to do basically is to create a tool or an instrument to help the financial and investment gap that EU deep tech companies faces at this stage. So it has also, let's say, a strategic goal, and at the same time, you also want to stimulate the growth of dynamic startup and scale-up ecosystem. Speaking of the strategic autonomy I've mentioned before, which can keep the pace with the US and Asia, basically. So once again, a very direct and very strategic objective. So the EIC wants, in a way, not only to de-risk the investment in these critical areas, but also to increase the number of unicorns, for instance, that are being supported in the EU in such area. Next slide. So now that we have hopefully at least a little bit defined what kind of role the European Innovation Council has, let's have a closer look at what it supports. We can actually see from this slide that the European Innovation Council covered the whole TRL, or technology readiness level spectrum. As a small disclaimer, we just said many times before, but we as EEN2EIC focus on EIC Accelerator first and foremost, as this is actually what we have basically been awarded from the Commission to support. Of course, we think at the same time that it's important to keep the other side in mind, and also to understand where the accelerator is positioning the overall economy of the European Innovation Council, as it may be of interest for you, for your potential client, to understand where to actually enter this process, since as you see here from the slide, Pathfinder and Transition are actually in a certain way propedeutic to the application for the EIC Accelerator. So as we can see, as I mentioned, Pathfinder, Transition, Accelerator are basically consecutive in the development process. And that means that Pathfinder is basically at the lower end of TRL scala, and it is basically the only program in EIC that requires a consortium, and the other one are just for mostly or exclusively in case of the accelerators for single partners. The Pathfinder is actually require a consortia of three institutions in 3 different countries that contributes together to collaborative research in future and emerging technology. This covers basically the basic research. Then if we move, let's say, in the higher level, on the mid of the TRL scala, we see that the transition is supporting the transition actually between research and commercial product development by supporting the on-field validation of technology developed either in EIC Pathfinder or as the result of other eligible EU funded project. Not all the exploitable result of the EU funded project are eligible here. The call text of the EIC transition explicitly identify and defines which one are eligible. Finally, the accelerator, so supporting deep tech project at higher, I would say, TRL level, so ideally from 5, 6 to up to their commercialization, so up to TRL 9. And this is indeed the focus of our training today, as well of EEN2EIC in general. It is important also to note that basically the 3 calls, Pathfinder, Transition, and Accelerator, all the 3 of them have 2 different strengths, an open one and a challenges one. The challenge here in this slide, you see only for the accelerator, but all the 3 of them have these different strengths. So the challenge basically is a subset of a close subset of themes, which are indicated by the EIC in the work program every year, basically. The themes are different for each of the calls, so Pathfinder, Transition, Accelerator does not necessarily have the same themes. For just for your information, in 2023, I'm just opening up now, for the EIC Accelerator, there were biomarker for cancer, decontamination for pandemic management, energy storage, new European Bauhaus, quantum or semiconductor components, resilience, agriculture, space technology, and services as challenges. So it's closed area, basically, or topic. It is clear already at this stage that for you, advisor, when supporting your client, you need to understand or also to guide, let's say, the scope of the proposal to be developed, while the budget allocated to the open strength is usually a bit higher in all the 3 calls. But this is of course also reflects the higher number of proposals submitted in this trend to basically open topic nature, so to say. So you need to choose wisely, let's say. So if one of your client can and have the capability and the possibility to apply one of the challenges, then it should be directed into one of them. Next slide. Right, so who can actually apply for the EIC Accelerator? So basically all the startups and SME established in the European Union and in Horizon Europe associated countries can apply, are eligible to apply, and in certain demonstrated cases also mid-caps are eligible to receive support from EIC Accelerator. So up to 499 full-time equivalent, basically. Also important, there are some provision for physical persons that have not yet founded the company to apply. So in case, maybe it's interesting for some of us, in case you have in your portfolio prospective founders with deep tech and disruptive product at high enough TRL level, and that can be, for example, a spin-off from the university or research center or a company itself, also from the R&D department of the company itself, then please do not rule the EIC Accelerator out, even if they didn't have, let's say, founded the company yet. Yeah. In any case, however, being an established or a prospective founder, the applicant should already have done this chunk of work, I would say, before submitting and already start at TRL favorable. That is actually from a level in which it is clear that the technology works and that the innovation is feasible. Yeah, or better in case of TRL6, that not only this technology behind the proposal basically works, but also its engineering is feasible and it works in real environment. So that's something that's concrete and that exists and can work. By the way, if you are not familiar with the TRL level and definition, you can always refer to Annex G of so Europe, yeah, in which all of the levels of the TRL levels are listed. One last eligibility aspect is, in a sense, very much rooted into the deep tech disruptive nature of the EIC, and that is the innovation presented in the proposal, which is or should be considered too risky for classical capital markets, banks or usual investors, and so on, and therefore does not allow for access to investment due to the intrinsic high risk, high reward nature of this proposal. This is the so-called non-bankability principle, which is quite important as it needs to be taken into account and assessed also in the short proposal, but mostly in the full proposal. So at a later stage of the application process, but nevertheless, it should be something quite important and considered by design when developing a stage 1 EIC proposal. And also, as quickly mentioned before, while the program is targeted basically at startups and SME, also small mid-cap, so companies up to 499 employees can apply. They can apply, however, for EIC support only through the EIC fund. We'll see now in a while what does it mean. So for TRL 9 activities, so for everything related to commercialization. Next slide. Speaking of TRL 9 EIC fund and commercialization, what is this? This is actually, this differentiation is because the EIC Accelerator is actually formed by two distinct, yet very interconnected components, the grant component and the investment component. The grant component is a grant, so basically your usual EU grant and non-repayable sum up to 2.5 million euro that the EIC awards to successful proposal. It is regulated and agreed upon with the signature of the grant agreement, so grant management process, and this is funded 70%. And that means, of course, that the company needs to chip in the rest 30% of the sum. And at the moment, so for this year, it follows the usual accounting and reporting principle that I think we are more or less all familiar from the participation in Horizon Europe or other EU funding framework. So it is worth, however, noticing that especially if you start now the support measure with your clients, so it is worth noticing that maybe for the next year that the EIC is looking actively at adopting a lump sum funding approach in the next work program. Yeah? As I said, this will be official when the work program is out, but there is this possibility. So this, in case this is true, this is a good news for your clients, because the burden in this kind of financial management approach is way less. So it's drastically reduced, and basically what you do at grant preparation stage, you agree with the grant authority on the amount basically of resources allocated to each work package, and then basically that's it. Yeah, if the grant authority thinks this is reasonable, then this is it. So you do not have to follow the usual financial reporting and so on that it's now the case. Basically, this lets the company focus on the development and the technical development and the technical part, rather than on financial and administrative management. So the grant component, your usual European grant. The investment component, on the other end, it's something that is quite new, and it is also regulated slightly different, because the investment component is managed and negotiated with the EIC fund, which is the venture arm, I would say, of the European Innovation Council, and it is actually a capital fund regulated under private law. Yeah, so that's also something quite new, and also something that is the peculiarity of the EIC Accelerator. The EIC fund basically has an operating bracket from 0, so 500 million, basically 500,000 euros until 15 million euro. So this is the operating bracket, more or less, of this fund. And it is a direct investment that you ask basically to be done in your company. Yeah, so this investment is usually done via or in form of equity or quasi-equity form. It is only eligible for activities, basically for TRL9 activities, for commercialization, market uptake, and so on activities, but it's it is, let's say, also you can use it also to co-finance basically the grant component. It's quite good, in my opinion, because with this kind of investment, basically you keep up maximum 25% of voting right. That means that the EIC fund will not seek or try to overrule in a way or take the majority of stakes in the company. It will stay a junior investor. However, it has a longer than usual investment horizon, so the so-called patient capital principle. It does not seek return on the investment very soon, so it doesn't push the company to go public or for an exit or whatever you, but rather look for a longer investment period, usually between 7 and 10 years. So that's something also quite important and quite interesting for perspective companies that want to apply for the EIC Accelerator, because once again, not only they will get the grant from the Commission, but also they have the possibility to apply for an investment through the EIC fund. Next slide. Right, there are in fact 3 or better 4 if we consider actually the investment only component, which is dedicated, as we said before, to scale ups, to small caps. But there are 3 main types of funding in the EIC Accelerator. So grant only, grant first, and blended, as we see in this slide, which is the latter by far the most used and advisable also when you're starting to discuss with your clients about the types of funding, but of course this depends on a range of factors. For grant only, basically it's if your client has a lower TRL, so 5 stretch, and needs more time to basically work, validate, and demonstrate the technology in relevant environments, so full TRL 5. So basically you say to the EIC, yes, we want to apply first for grant. We are not 100% sure that everything is going to work as it's supposed to. If we reach a set of milestones, then we can actually apply also for the investment. That's grant first, so not grant only. Grant only, on the other end, is basically a as the name say, actually only for the grant component of the EIC Accelerator. So you do not want EIC fund to get involved in the in your project. Basically, if you apply for grant only, you need to keep in mind that you need to show that you have sufficient financial support, either an investor ready to invest in your company at a later stage once higher TRL level are reached, or you have your own resources, or you have your, I don't know, revenues in case you are already established company that you can pitch in to support the TRL9 activities or commercialization and scale up of this. So you need to show the condition that you have the means necessary to keep the innovation going. Yeah, this is usually done more in the full proposal, but nevertheless, you need to tell already at short proposal stage what kind of investments you are, or what type of funding you are seeking. If you apply for grant only, for instance, in short proposal, and the condition for whatever reason has changed between short proposal and full proposal, you can still apply for the investment component also for the EIC fund part, basically. Also at full proposal, you can change between the 2 stages. Next slide. Right, so let's now think that we have chosen the best funding structure according to our client needs. So we have, let's say, a more clear picture on that. Let's see how the actual submission of a proposal works. So each EIC Accelerator proposal is composed basically by 3 steps, and each of these steps also foresees an evaluation of sort, yeah, and that allows actually to move forward to the next step. In the next couple of slides, we will see a bit more in depth what is actually needed to submit a short proposal. However, before moving to this deep dive, if you want, is nevertheless important to understand the whole process, also in light of the support that at the end of the day you give to your client and to the client interested in applying for EIC, since the short proposal is actually an integral part of a wider, broader process that we see in this slide. And actually, if your support and advice to the client is good, you should good enough, and the proposal is good enough. Of course, there are a lot of factors. Of course, everyone is aiming at arriving at a successful funded proposal. Anyway, if for short proposal, your advice, let's say, help the client to shape a nice and good and solid proposal, it will get an evaluation from the evaluator of at least 2 goals. So 2 green lights from a pool of evaluator. So 2 out of 4 people evaluating the proposal will say that the proposal is worth basically moving to the next stage, to the full proposal. So 2, 3, 4, up to goals, you can move to the full proposal. The full proposal itself represent quite big proposal that you need to develop, and you need to provide really deep and detailed presentation of the project you're submitting, which presentation not only goes really in depth for the business part, since you will need to present a range of metrics, a detailed business plan, financial figures, freedom to operate analysis, financial information, so quite a lot. But luckily, to assist you and your client in the full proposal, as Marco mentioned before, there is also this service from the EIC itself, which is the business acceleration services, which is basically a 3-day, if I'm correct, complimentary coaching and support that the applicants actually can choose from a pool of business experts, which are expert in the area, of course, of action of the applicant. And these are also very useful and very instrumental services for finalization of a good full proposal. As Marco said, the BSA will actually be part of our session at EEN annual event we call basically the session. So make sure to follow it, because we will know from first hand actually more about the services, and it's going to be very much interesting. Anyway, if your clients also manage to develop a successful full proposal, it will receive 3 goals. So that's the next evaluation part. The full proposal will be evaluated by 3 rather than 4 independent evaluator, which evaluates the proposal and either reach a consensus, so either all of them are convinced that the application and the proposal is worth moving to the next and final stage, or they reject it, of course, with a reason. If you are able, if your client are able to get the 3 go with this consensus, he will be invited in Brussels for the final and third and final phase, the in-person evaluation, during which the company has basically 10 minutes to pitch and about 30 minutes of Q&A session with the EIC jury in person. So investor, the EIC Accelerator members, BSA members, and so on and so forth. So in this third stage, third and last stage, the evaluation is done also by reaching a consensus amongst the jury. So the result of this third step is either a go or a no-go. So there is nothing in between. In case you get a go, so that you are deemed as finally, if you can finally apply for or get the grant, basically you will be invited to grant preparation phase for the grant component, and in parallel, if you choose the blended finance, the EIC fund will conduct, as any other investor, usually it's due diligence and negotiate the investment round separately. So these 2 processes basically proceed in parallel. You sign the grant with the EIC, with the granting authority, and you negotiate your investment round with the EIC fund, if everything went well. If not, actually, in case of negative response, the outcome are basically 2. Either the jury will suggest the applicant to retry this third phase, so this face-to-face interview, or will award the proposal with the seal of excellence, which include additional support services from business acceleration services, and also from EEN2EIC, from us, because one of our actually goal is also to support seal of excellence throughout Europe to identify additional funding stream, additional round of fundings, and so on. So This to give you, let's say, a bit of a taste of an overview of what the full application process look like. Now, to apply for a short proposal. Next slide. So, first of all, what you need to apply for a short proposal may be obvious, but you need a PIC number from the company. Yeah, so the company in question or need to have a PIC number. I think everyone is actually quite familiar with the process, so I won't spend too much time in this, but make sure that this is actually something that you ask your client before starting the process. It doesn't take too much time, but nevertheless, to obtain one, but nevertheless. After you have the PIC number, you can register your client in the new EIC platform, which is myeic.esmea.eu. This is the new platform, which, as you know, was launched this summer to replace the old AI platform, which was decommissioned early in mid-2023, if I'm correct. So the new or the current platform actually is very much straightforward and to the point, and it also has a nice feature so that once the client start actually the proposal submission, you can also grant access to additional parties. So there is some kind of granular account management in the submission system, which can be very useful for you as an advisor, to keep track and to hide actually the development of the proposal at any stage if you wish to directly access it over. So next slide, we go actually a bit more into detail into the questionnaire. So basically, the short proposal is composed by 10 steps, I would say, more or less. So even though this new platform changed fundamentally, compared to the old one, I would say that the content focuses as before on the same core point, which is to let your client, to let the applicant, to let the proposer showcase its innovation in a sound, clear, and convincing way, especially for the first step, so for the short proposal. Also, even though in 2023, the official limitation in terms of character for short proposal is very, very high, so it's 70,000 characters. Please note that this is not a target, so you should aim to be very short, very concise, and very to the point. The EIC has already communicated that from next year they intend to enforce much stricter character limitations. So just for you to know, do not take these 70,000 characters as a goal, because it's really, really a lot, especially for a short proposal. In general, what your client or what you need your client to do is to use this short proposal strategically, because the goal here is to convince the 4 evaluator that the concept you are presenting is so promising that it deserves to be further developed, expanded, and explored, if you want, in full proposal. To do so, basically you need to frame the business idea as the go-to solution to address the customer's pain in the specific area the proposal is actually tackling. So in section 2, opportunities, you explicitly do it. You describe the problem is addressing and actually what kind of customer pain point is solving. Then you will have to describe the solution. So in the third step, the solution that you are proposing, basically pitching the unique selling proposition of the business idea, as well as its breakthrough potential, including, for instance, explaining how the solution different from the ones already existing in the markets. And also, you need to convince the evaluator that the idea is not only the perfect or a good fit for the customer, but it also has the right timing to reach the market. So the why now question, which is very important. So why it is an excellent fit in terms of market entry. Speaking of market, in section 4, you basically need to assess your target market and provide details, additional details about your business model, including your customers. So the competitors and the growth strategy that you have. While business metric, while financial part is, of course, a central part in this application, as a core part of this application is significant and very important, in my opinion. Part is part number 5, which is devoted to the broader impact of your proposal. Yeah, and this impact that actually goes beyond the market success. I refer, for instance, to societal impact, is possible adherence with one or more sustainable development goals, as well as the alignment of the proposal with the EU priorities. Yeah, remember what we just said a few minutes ago, yeah, about the priorities of the EIC, disruptive technology, twin transition, EU strategic autonomy. So this is where you, of course, need to highlight especially this thing. Also, I think that as an EEN expert is particularly important here, your role, our role, as we have a better understanding of the EU legislative and priority frameworks, and so we can help the client to refer to the right priorities and initiatives here in section 5. Next slide. I think we are running a bit late. So next in the order, you will find basically the description of your company, in which you provide basic information about your company or your client's company, and you have also the possibility to go a bit deeper into its broader vision and ambition. Also, closely linked to this and very, 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 very important is the section 7, so the team section. You basically need to convince the evaluator not only that your team is exactly what is needed to develop and bring to the market this project, but also that you, I refer also to you, but you, your client, have already all the expertise on board to succeed, and if not, you have a clear provision on how to secure such expertise. Yeah. Also in this section, the gender balance is quite closely looked and scrutinized by the evaluator, and as actually one of the pillars of the EEN2EIC is to promote women-led companies. I think that it should be very carefully considered also from us. Lastly, in the funding section, you need to explicit what type of funding you apply for, as mentioned before, what amount of grant more or less you are seeking, and what kind of investment you are currently hiring. This figure should be as precise as possible, of course, but you will have the possibility in the full proposal to go very much in detail and very much precisely into these figures. Also, you need to clearly specify why your client were unable to secure the fund necessary to develop innovation. If you remember the non-bankability principle we have discussed at the beginning, so high risk high reward proposed. And also you need to upload 2 annexes, basically the pitch deck and the video. Next slide. Pitch deck and video, which are basically 2 mandatory annexes. So there is no predefined pitch deck to fill, but it's usually need to follow the classic pitch deck structure. Yeah. So as the one you see in this slide. There is a very useful guide developed by our colleague in Access to EIC project, which we referenced in the last section of this presentation that we will make available for you. You can also look at this to have, let's say, a bit more understanding of what the pitch deck should include, but more or less it's your usual 10-slide pitch deck for investors. The company will have the possibility to upload and expand or change, update, expand, and change actually the pitch deck in the full application, and the pitch deck submitted in the full application, so not the one in the short application. The one in full application will be used also for the face-to-face interview in Brussels. So that's also need to be kept in mind. The video is a short video, 3 minutes, doesn't have to be Kubrick, so everything very straightforward, very clear, in which you showcase 3 basically core team members, or maximum 3, up to 3 core team members that present the motivation behind the proposal and the team. The video should be 1 gigabyte maximum and encoded in MP4. It is advisable to use both the pitch and the video in a smart way, avoiding to simply repeat what you already written in the application in a different medium or with a different medium, but rather to use them to provide additional valuable information to the evaluator, or to present your innovation from an additional angle. Yeah, to if you want to reach and complement what is already put in written form. This is actually less of a problem now with the very relaxed and broad character limitation in your proposal, which allowed the applicant actually to be a bit more detailed and descriptive. But as the limit will be restricted now coming goals, it is important to keep this in mind. So avoid repetition and use the pitch deck and video smartly to enrich what you have already stated. Next slide. So short proposal, which will basically be evaluated according to these 3 criteria by the 4 experts in charge of the evaluation. The evaluator will essentially look at the innovativeness of your idea, the disruptiveness of your idea, its impact, and also the team behind this that you, as you see on screen. We do not have time, as we're running quite late, I think, to deep dive into this criteria, but it's important for you to familiarize with them and contrast the application actually against the criteria to provide feedback to your client. And we also reference the template, the evaluation template at the end. Next slide, and I think this concludes. Yeah, this is an overview very briefly of how much time you should consider to for your basically support. It is very depends from a range of factors, so it is just as reference here. And I think, given the time, we can just close my presentation here and go to Natalia.
Okay, thank you, Stefano. Here are some references. We're going to share this with you afterwards. And yeah, that was the first section of our training, and I will straight give the floor to Natalia and her colleague. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you our experience and our knowledge as Bavarian Research Alliance. And thank you for the opportunity to be here with more than 60, almost 70 colleagues from the EEN2EIC. So the last the presentation of Stefano was really very in detail, and this is pretty much what we also offer to our companies. But today we want to share with you the way we offer our services supporting small and medium enterprises applying for the EIC Accelerator. We are active in this area since the publication of the SME instrument, so almost 10 years. So I hope that our information is also valuable for you, and we are open after that for questions. Today, I'm going to present the Bavarian Research Alliance and our SME advisory services and how we can complete our enterprise network services with the EEN2EIC, also for the companies applying for the EIC Accelerator. And after that, my colleague in team, Nivedita Mahida Königsdorfer, will also present the last company we supported and got the funding this year, which is Angio Lucio's game, so how we supported them and which is the main takeaways we can share with you during the whole process. So before we start with the services, I would like just to spend 1 minute giving you the description of our organization, because in this way you can also understand why we support in this way the companies and why here in Bavaria. So very shortly, we are a public company financed by the Regional Ministry of Science and Research in Bavaria, and we were created in 2008 in order to increase the participation of the Bavarian scientists in the European research and innovation projects, so to increase the visibility of these scientists in the European research area. This also implied to increase the visibility of the regional actors and, of course, to offer them the partnering services. The last call is not only to have visibility in this area, but of course to get the funding for the research and innovation projects. And this is still today our main objective, because even if in Bavaria there are more than 20 universities and it's plenty of research centers, there is still a need of support in order to be successful in the European research area, and this is what we are offering. We have our headquarters in Munich and with also offices in Nuremberg and Brussels. And for you as idea, here you find the figures of 2022. 156 supported and submitted proposals, and we achieve almost 150 million euros from the Bavarian partners in all these supported proposals. So quite impressive. One of the main projects is an innovation fund. That's why the figure is so high. But in any case, with 55 employees, I think you can have an idea the expertise that we have. We are we understand our organization as a full service provider. And as you see, all of you are enterprise network partner, no? So you can see here that our services are pretty in line with the enterprise network client journey, from the first information until the submission of the proposal. Sometimes if the clients do need it, so we also support them in the negotiation of the grant agreement, or sometimes also in the implementation of the project. But the first part, you see here on the right part, information, advisory services, support for the application. These services are pretty in line with enterprise network, and this is what not only we as SME advisory services in the BIFOR are offering to the SMEs, but also our colleagues in the and other scientific departments in our organization are doing. So it is general, this is the services the Bavarian applicants to European projects can receive from our side, and of course for free because we are a public company. We are also partnered in the Bavarian Research and Innovation Agency. This is important for our organization because, and also for our department, because in this way we can also work together and at the same level with the other public organizations and companies in our region, supporting small and medium enterprises in getting public funding for research and innovation at other levels. If we are focused on European programs, the other partners in this agency are focused on regional, national programs, and so we can complete these supportive services working together. So what we do, what we offer as a department in the BIFOR, you see here, we have two very differentiated areas, the institutional or political level, in which we also make a sort of lobby work trying to improve the framework conditions of the public programs for supporting small and medium enterprises, or being part of European projects, programs like Interreg or European innovation ecosystems, this kind of programs to also know in order to bring more knowledge to our region. We are also very active in the thematic groups of the Enterprise Europe Network that are dealing with these topics, with this area of research and innovation. And on operational level, we are in Bavaria a one-stop shop for SMEs in relation with European funding for research and innovation. That means that we can inform them, but also supporting them hand-on. At a very practical level, and we also organize for them trainings, workshops, and newsletter in order to have the opportunity to better understand the European funding landscape, because for the small and medium enterprises it's really tough. So these are the main services, figures from our side. We are a small team. We are 3 people right now. Nivedita, Julia, another member of the team, and me. And we got last year more than 100 requests from SMEs. We supported 22 applying for the SME for the EIC Accelerator. From the very beginning to the full proposal, not all of them were invited to the pitch, but at least 30%. And on top, we also had 11 applications for other programs like Eureka, Eurostars, and so on. And from these applications and requests, we got 5 projects, which is very nice and after such a support. We also organized a training about EIC Accelerator for the applicants, and we published also some issues of the newsletter for SMEs, only in German. So that's these are the conditions. This is our framework when we are working, where we are working, and for whom. And as an enterprise network, we decided to follow the client journey also described in our work program, also supporting the applicants of the EIC Accelerator. So this image, you for sure already know it, but what is important for us is the image, this graphic in the bottom of the slide on the right, because you see here this ladder, these steps going up, and we start here with the network services. But in our case, and this is something that I wanted to share with you today. In our case, as we are a small company and a small department in the BIFOR, the work starts for us before the support services are being deployed for the companies. Before means that we have worked very hard in order to have a meaningful role in the regional innovation ecosystems. If we don't cooperate with the other stakeholders working for the knowledge-based companies and startups, it's not possible for us to work with the best companies, with the companies that have more chances to get the accelerator. So we work with the other regional accelerators, with you can see here some of them, with accelerator incubators, services of the main universities in Bavaria, initiative of Munich as the best city and the most important city in Germany to start or to create a startup like Munich Innovation Ecosystem or Munich Startup, and also with the regional stakeholders as Invest in Bavaria or Buy a Startup, and several others. If you don't have a very good connection with these stakeholders, it's very difficult to get the most promising companies and the companies with more chances to receive the EIC Accelerator. And you stay only in this level of supporting services, but without a result. So this is a very important point for us. The second is, once that the company come to us and we start with the needs assessment, not only to send a formula or a template and ask for the information, but to organize a personal meeting or an online, a digital meeting, but to meet the main team of the company, to start with working with them, building trust and trying to connect with this team, because you have a long journey until you receive the funding. So try to understand it is easy to work with these people, with this company, if they understand what they are doing. Try to bring the European jargon to a very simple level and to make them comfortable in this area of the European funding. So after that, or at the same time, you have to understand if they have a defined idea, if the team is really promising, if they are in the same line, if it is a multicultural team, or if there are women there, or if the founder is a woman and had also a very supporting team, if they have a roadmap for the financing, if they have a clear idea of the strategy in a mid-term, and if they already have some external support like coaches, investors, or support from other public organizations. This is a bit the main build at the first online meeting that you have to have from the company. And then you can understand if they are eligible for the EIC Accelerator, or if it's better to start with other regional or national programs, because they are not mature enough for the European programs. So you are defining the main aspect of the company, but also you are already having some other alternatives or options in your mind if the EIC Accelerator is too big for this company. And of course, if the partnerships or partnerships is an option because they really need more knowledge and other complementing technologies in order to go ahead with the prototype or with the idea. So this is the first step. This needs assessment. After that, if everything goes well and the company have a very clear idea of what they want, and the accelerator is the best option or a funding option for them, then we make a first follow-up on the first version of the short application. Even if the short application can be only written in the platform, we have take out the questions and to elaborate. We have elaborated a template as the BIFOR, as one of the supporting documents we offered. So they write them, the information, and our first feedback is based on these points. I mean, have they understood this, which is the problem they want to minimize, which is the solution the company want to offer to the problem, and if it is clear, the business solution, the business model, in order to get the revenues of this solution. The project strategy is the same or is not the same as the mid-term strategy of the company. Has this idea the European dimension? Do they have the resources? Are they able to describe these resources and idea in the proposals? The first version of the excellence and the impact of the application are in line with another or are very different. If they have already spoken and also described the issues regarding the implementation of the budget. I mean, the work packages or maybe the structure of the implementation of the project. So, as I mentioned, we use our templates and to follow and to the structure of the sort application. We only have one person in team connecting with and communicating with the contact person in the company, and we try to. Well, I think we only work with realistic deadlines, internal deadlines. If we want to, if we have an objective to apply with a full application, for example, in February or March next year, we have to apply the sort application until November, for example. And this kind of timelines is something that we work very close with the companies, and we try to be very concrete as we and strict also working with the companies. The third step is the implementation, and this is regarding the second follow-up. So once that they work on the sort application, on the template, and also on the pitch and the video, it's time to go for the last details. I mean, we have clear what we want to achieve, but now we have to work on how we have communicated, how we had written this information. This is key for the proposal. You can have a very good company, but if they are not able to write a very good proposal or application, you don't receive the funding. That is the question. So in this second revision, we go, and maybe it's also the same in the full application. The second revision, the second follow-up or feedback is to see, is the information understood? Is the English good? Can we understand? It's understandable. Also, it makes the life of the evaluators easy, or it make it more complicated. So do they use graphics or photos? Are the images that they have put in the application, in the full application, meaningful for the whole project or not? Do they have a layout? Do they have they personalized the template of the proposal in order to make it easier to read and more attractive for the evaluators? And the coherence of the whole proposal, it's important. Do they have a storyline? It is coherence from the beginning to the, so from the excellence to the implementation. The buy for inputs are more or less always the same. Your application have to be very attractive, but it is not only about marketing. That is something that the private agencies are very willing to do. They put everything very nice and very professional from a marketing point of view, but the proposal has to have a content. And this content have to be very clear for the applicants, for the team working of that. We don't have any problem working with agencies. It's okay, but they have to understand the main content of the proposal and also the team working of that. And also the work packages is something that for the companies is not clear which kind of activities I have to put for as pre-commercialization and after commercialization or for the commercialization. And this is something that we work pretty much in the last minute, because it's something that arises a lot of questions only once that the other parts are being written. So this is this slide, also seeing the time is more or less the same as Stefano showed before. The profile of the company that would have more chances to receive the funding. You can read it after all, but from our side, as some advice to you or recommendations is agree with the company the time and the times and the deadlines when you are working with them. Try to understand if the timing is the best for the company to apply. Also, because of internal issues, other pitching rounds, etc. Don't underestimate the effort that implies write the EIC Accelerator. Make them work in team. Make them to work at least 2 persons on the application, at least. And they have to have a clear business strategy independently of the template of the proposal. They have to get feedback also from external, from other people, for members of the family. It's the same. They have to give the proposal to other people to read it and understand if it is really clear for non-experts in this area. They have to quantify everything that they write. Not only we are the best, and our solution will be produce a big impact, but they have to quantify all these assumptions. And of course, use the template for the application, because still today, it is something that is not clear for everyone. So this is our contribution today. I hope it's very useful for you. And I give the floor to my colleague Nivedita, and she is going to explain you the success story with Angelution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Natalia, for the introduction. Here an example, like a real case example, going from the theoretical part of the client journey to a real life example of the company Angelutions. Angelutions has developed a device. It's a company startup in medtech area. They have developed a device for stopping the life-threatening growth of small abdominal aortic aneurysm, very difficult to pronounce. And this was one part of their application to describe the field and to describe their device and describe the innovation of their device. And we, next slide please, we supported them throughout their journey. we were contacted by the founder, Dr. Isabel Schellinger. She contacted us in the beginning saying that they are interested to apply to the EIC Accelerator. And then we were on board with all three founders, or all three the co-founders, to start with the short application and going to the full application and to the interview stage. And it was a very long journey of about 1 year from the beginning till the end. So we could have a timeline starting the contact, starting the client journey in July 2022. And we the company submitted the short application by August 2022, and then the full application by October. And they had the first interview in November last year. And unfortunately, they were rejected in the interview stage. So they decided to do the rebuttal. And this is where a key component of our advice comes in. How do we formulate the rebuttal? How do you go about with explaining the expert evaluation, their concerns about the timing or their concerns about the device, the patents, and putting that into a document and submitting again the rebuttal. So this is a key long process of our entire work with the company. And they decided not to go with the consultant. So they decided to do all the application themselves. And this was the old tool. So this was the old AI tool of the EIC Accelerator. So this was quite a many hours of entering the text and making a value chain, etc., which was part of the old application format. Now the format is different. It has changed to this. The templates have changed. The platform, AI platform, is not anymore the form of uploading the full applications, but we managed to advise them how to formulate this rebuttal, which led them to a second interview stage in June. And they were successful, and they are about to sign the grant agreement. They received the funding. So this is all a long journey, and this is an ideal journey. Okay, let's say they're not quite ideal, as Stefano said in the beginning, 8 months or 9 months, because they did the interview twice. But they had a really good feedback for other companies who are applying. That next slide, that they gave us some feedback at a workshop for our EIC aspired companies, and they said, how do you balance the content and the impact? How do you balance these aspects during a pitch and during the Q&A session? So they gave us they gave our companies valuable feedbacks, how to train for the interview. How can you do an online interview in the case where the jury is not in front of you, the jury is behind the screen, and how important non-verbal communication is. How can you use gestures? How do you speak to the camera? And they did a very intensive training for the interview stage, which of course paid off in the second interview, and they got the funding. So these are the tips from one of the CEOs. Next slide, please. This is the figures for Angelution support. We had about 4 EEN advisors reviewing the proposal, starting from the short to the full and interview support. So we had one specific person with a background in medtech, in medical technologies. He was supporting us along with 2 of us from the EEN team. Natalia was also on board, and we had really an intensive work and communication. We had feedback every 2 to 3 weeks, and all the 3 co-founders worked on the application and on the pitch and on the rebuttal. So the co-founders themselves were involved. They did not give it to their staff. They themselves were they held it so important to work on the application themselves. And they received the 2.5 million grant, and they will also have asked for equity, which is to be confirmed. So that is an example from our ecosystem. One of our latest Angelutions are one of our successful applicants. They have indicated that they are happy to receive questions from you in case you have, or you can ask us the questions and we can take it to Angelutions, or we can answer it ourselves. So the next part is Frederick for the Q&A, right?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Colleagues from BIFOR, very interesting insights on how you work, supporting the companies. I think that gave some interesting insights. I hope for all of you it was also interesting. So yeah, it was now scheduled to have the Q&A session. I have shared this link from Slido in the chat. We have so far received some few questions. I'm just going to share my screen, and maybe we can just go through the questions. And I also see we have some in the chat, but yeah, I think we can.
Maybe we can start with this one.
Yeah.
Which are quite, so let's do this order. The EIC Accelerator challenges for 2024, they will be published in the new work program, which is not already published, and that goes to the second question, that answer to the second question. When will the agenda, I think with the agenda you mean with the various deadline for step 2 and the work program. It is not available yet. It is in the final phase of development, so I expect any week from now. Yeah, it should be quite fast, the process. And for phase 1, for proposal, you do not need actually to wait for a cutoff date or for a deadline. The application is always open, so you can already start working on the platform. There is no consensus meeting due to the evaluation of step 2. There is consensus meeting in the sense that you need to have 3 go, as I mentioned before, after the full proposal. So all the evaluators need to reach a consensus and to agree basically on the goodness of your and the solidity of your application. So there is, let's say, a consensus to be reached. Maybe Natalia, the one for you, is BIFOR also working together with national contact points to support the client?
Well, working together is pretty much. We know each other and we shared information. We are in contact. We work at institutional level together, but we don't support together the same company at the same time. I mean, the companies had questions and receive also feedback from the national contact point, which is here in Germany. It is specialized only in the EIC Accelerator, and they receive feedback and so on. And we work with the company in a very detailed way. So we are in touch. If we don't know questions from the company, we ask to the NCPs and they answer the questions through the BIFOR. So we know each other, we work together, there is no problem, but not together at the same time for the same application.
I think the next ones are also for you both. Do most of your applicants prepare the proposal without consultant, and is the template that you provide them more elaborated of the proposal and public document? Yeah.
Yes, the first one, yes. The most of our assistant applicants prepare the proposal without consultant, and sometimes they come to us after having a bad experience with the consultant. Yes, and there are some of them that are very good. We not that, but in our case, if you start working with a consultant that are only paid in on success then it's complicated to have a very good short proposal, for example.
No, these templates then.
We used to have, for example, as the Commission launched the platform, we had a commented template, and also before the platform. For this time, we are working on that because the new template was published in July, and we are working on that. But in any case, we already have the Word version of the questions for the short application and also for the full application. It is easier for all of us to have these Word documents in order to comment then, or to work on the edition of the document.
And then there is also one, how many companies are you able to assist during 1 year, since you are a small team? I think that, then I'll give it to you back, Natalia. I think that it's actually the shared problem that we all have, because we have all limited resources, and actually it's quite, work to support a company. That is also why EEN2EIC has established this voucher instrument that allows you also to be, let's say, supported, with additional resources for this. From the experience of Standbys, this is actually depends on the company. Of course, some are at the very early stage and they need a lot of intensive support. Other are a bit more independent, but maybe Natalia, you have another consideration.
Well, we have at least between 10 and 15 companies working on the proposal, but not all of them applied for the same deadline. Sometimes they have an objective in October, and then they have to postpone because internally they don't get it. I think it is possible if you have a very clear roadmap, as I mentioned before. If you want to know the main criteria for the very beginning, the team and the strategy, the problem, solution and business model, and so on, and then you understand. And then it also helps, I would say, to support the companies that maybe 50% of all the requests or companies working on the accelerator are not eligible, I would say. They want to try, but they are, as an expert, that they are not going to receive it. But the work on the proposal, the work on the application, is very important for them, because in this way they would have a very clear strategy for the future. And I think we are able to support so many companies only with 3 people, because we work from the very beginning very intense with them. We comment everything, and then it's easier at the end of as the deadline is approaching, it's easier to comment on the proposals, because the main work was already done at the beginning. I don't know, Nivedita, if you want to add something.
Yes, many companies, let's say, at least in our ecosystem, they're really good in short applications, because they have applied for funding previously, so they are highly experienced companies as well. And the hurdle is really in the full application stage. So it is a long application. There's a lot of information. Also, the financial tables are quite extensive. So we agree to have regular sessions with the companies, so that they are on track with their application, and we give them the option for 1 review before they submit, and if they want another review before they submit. So we work from the deadline of the full application and backwards. And we usually take enough of time into considerations, because the companies are not only applying for funding, they are doing other development activities of their technology as well. So we provide them this kind of timeline. And as long as they stick to the timeline, it's good. We can work effectively, we can work briefly, and we provide the written feedback. And if they need an explanation face-to-face explanation, we organize online meetings. So I do say that's quite effective work with the companies. And also the startups, they don't have much time. They don't have time. More than 1 hour for a meeting is very long. So maximum 1 hour meetings, and then all the questions are cleared. The goal is clear. So we try to work as effectively as possible. And exactly, yeah.
Maybe Nivedita, as you already have the floor, there are two questions in the chat, in the team chat, that regards your client. So if it was granted before the EIC Accelerator, or also a European Research Council grant for academic co-founder, and also if they are looking for an international partner or collaboration.
Concerning the second question from Marcella, this is companies applying for the EIC Accelerator, applying on their own. So they are single applying in a single company. They are coming to us for this specific application. So they, in general, are not looking for partners. They are not at the moment looking for international partners. If they are, we do collaborate with them to put up an EEN technology offer or business offer, but usually their focus is applying to this funding instrument, so we don't have questions for partnering and collaboration. And regarding the ERC grant for academic co-founders, it is not a predetermined criteria that they should have ERC grant for academic co-founders to apply for the EIC Accelerator. Yeah.
Thank you.
There was a question regarding the main criteria to succeed.
Yeah, I've seen it as well.
Yeah.
I would say, in my opinion, to have a very well gender balanced team. I have seen in the last 2 years, the companies who succeed, they had a gender balance, not only one woman or one man or a group of men, but at least mixed. And it is working very well. And also to have a very clear, it's the same which kind of a strategy, but a clear and consolidated international commercialization strategy. If you are able to communicate, and this is also my third criteria, very good communication, very good skills in writing in English, and to present the idea. If you are able to communicate which are your goals, why do you want to stay in Europe and not to go to USA, and to do it in a very convincing way, it is, in my opinion, the question. For example, angiolutions, we thought the market is very limited because it is not like cancer treatment or like this. And they were able, it's not so limited, but it could be, and it was sometimes the feedback of the evaluators, and they made incredible work in communicating and convincing the evaluators.
We have 3 questions left, and I think we can also close looking at the time. I'll take the last one, and then maybe you can complement on the first 2. So regarding the income, it does not reduce the funding amount for the grant component, I think, because actually you ask for a grant. So just like a EU project, let's say you ask for a certain amount of money to do a certain kind of activities, and basically you state, and in the grant agreement you basically put it black and white, that for the activities that you are going to do for the implementation of the process, the project, you need that amount of resources. If you have income, then of course it's also better. You can pitch in, as I mentioned, this is co-finance, we need 30% and so on. But it has, let's say, no direct, no direct impact on the grant itself, if I understood the question correctly. If you have let's say, good cash flow, then it's also good if you apply for the EIC fund, since good cash flow is actually one of the metrics, yeah, that the investor looked for. So that's that may be also an advantage. Maybe then Natalia and Medita for the last two questions.
I mean, regarding the mistakes, I would say that only one person worked on the application. It's for me a big mistake, and it still happened today, and that they don't quantify all the information they write in the application. We are the best. Our solution will revolutionize. Our impact to the sustainability of whatever, without giving figures, statistics, without mentioning the sources of information. What do you read this assumption, this assessment? Whatever you put in the application. That is, and to write very, very long sentences, because you have something in your mind and then you write everything there. So you have to write very good. You have to write in team, and you have to quantify and to put your ideas also with images and statistic graphics, etc.
Okay.
Any segmentation for academic entrepreneurs and typical tech-savvy entrepreneur to train EIC Accelerator? Not sure personally.
No. Short answer is no. We don't separate academic entrepreneurs and tech-savvy entrepreneurs. We treat them equally. We give the similar feedback. If it is a pitch training, whether it's a feedback on the full application, short application, it's the same criteria.
Yeah, because it's the same proposal at the end of the day. Yeah, so you need actually to come up with a good ESC proposal regardless of your background. Yeah, indeed. Experience a lot of delay in managing the project with the company once the project is accepted, and maybe this is also linked with the fund below, which in which the company is late and risk losing the part of their grants.
We have every kind of this specific case. We had a company which suffered the delay of the commission in giving the funds, which was very complicated, and they struggled. But we offer the companies to support them during the implementation of the project, which is not for free. We have a contract for that, and in this way we avoid this situation. In any case, I have to say that companies who didn't write their own application, they struggled in the implementation of the project because they didn't take care of the implementation of what they promised, how many deliverables, etc. So you have to communicate very, very regularly with your project officer to avoid this situation. You have to tell him or her which is the situation, which issues do you have for the implementation, which circumstances, etc. It's very important to communicate very regularly with your project officer.
Cannot agree more, yeah. And regarding the late of this company, it's a bit difficult also to give, let's say, an opinion here, because it's a very case-by-case basis. And once again, as Natalia just said, that the best solution is to get in touch as much as possible with the project officer and see actually what work together a solution, because that's the only and the best option that you have at the moment. Right. Okay. I think we have.
That was it.
Yeah.
There's one more coming, but we can also grab the questions and answer them afterwards. I mean,
yeah, can do this way. Yes.
Because we're a bit over time now.
Yeah.
Okay. We will also take them into consideration and maybe publish a FAQ for those interested, and we will share this with you afterwards. But yeah, I think for the moment, thank you very much, Natalia and Nivedita, for joining. Thank you all of you for joining this training today. And yeah, if you have any questions after the training, please feel free to contact us. We are there to answer your questions. And
thank you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.